There were a ton of speculations about Valve killing the current concept of cases and moving on to more profitable type of business, but I have a few solid reasons why this is not likely to happen. The main idea people echo around is that cases are currently too expensive to acquire for case opening purposes. This basically means that people are spending vast amounts of money to purchase cases, and Valve gets a smaller cut from keys, as some cases now are even more than double the price of a single key. It is believed that this way, Valve loses quite a hefty amount of money. However, I don't think this is as bad as it is, and I definitely don't believe that Valve will change its case opening concept, especially now, when just more than a week ago they introduced some needed changes to the case drop algorithm. We are living in times where everything is slowly but steadily rising in price. Inflation has heavily affected almost every sector in the world, and CSGO is no exception. Not only it affected case prices, but it also affected skin prices. In other words, just a few years ago you used to spend $2.5 to open a case to get an average return of around 50%, and today you do the same. You pay $5 to get the 50% return, which mathematically makes things look the same year over year. Of course, if we deploy some basic case opener logic, we can calculate that Valve makes quite a lot of money even with expensive cases. Let's just think of a typical CSGO case unboxing and assume that a person has $100 budget, spends $2.5 for a key and the same amount for a case. That's 20 cases and 20 keys in total. On average, he gets $2.5 back, so theoretically he should end up with $50. Most of the time, people sell the returns on Steam Market and typically buy another case and another key to open the container. Those $50 would also be subject to a 13% Steam Market sales fee, so that person would receive a total of $43.5 back. This allows him to buy 8 more cases and have $3.5 remaining, so this also means that the person purchases 8 more keys. Then, if he gets the average return, he ends up with $20. We apply the 13% Steam sales fee and we're left with $17.5. Let's add this to the $3.5 that was previously left unused, and the person still has $20.9 and the ability, of course, to buy 4 more cases and keys. Do you see where I'm going with this? Out of the initial $100 on Steam, a typical CSGO case opener can buy up to 32 keys, which gives Valve a profit of more than $80 and the fees from purchasing the case and selling the case contents. This pretty much provides Valve with an outstanding return on their end, and of course we can argue that this could theoretically be almost twice as big if the cases were cheaper, but right now the main thing incentivizing many case openings is definitely the massive price of possible outcomes. Another thing that is definitely in the mind of Valve experts is related to skin prices. As I just said, the prices are really high, especially in the context of last 5 years. If you somehow mess with the case drop algorithm or introduce Anubis Collection-like packages, there is a good possibility that the quote-unquote scarcity thing would be gone, and this would lead to some skins moving down in price. If skins drop in price, Valve gets a smaller cut of market sales. There's also a solid chance that people would just simply stop opening cases in these quantities, as there won't be that many lucrative options. Also, we need to think about the infamous investors and all the rich people that keep the CSGO industry alive. If you do something wrong and their skins and cases go down in price, you may lose their trust and their constant money influx. Moreover, case opening numbers were growing steadily in the last 2 years, and at the time of making this video there were more than 46 million cases unboxed last month. If we exclude the Anubis package, there were 37.7 million cases unboxed, and that's a 45% growth in the 2 years. During the same period of 2 years, the average CSGO player count increased by a bit over 69%. If we include the Anubis package, the case opening numbers went up by 77%. I don't know what about you, but this seems like a totally healthy and correlated growth in both graphs. So, just to give you some context, Valve made almost $94 million just from key sales, plus at least $16.7 million from Anubis package sales. This massive number of at least $110 million US does not include all the market sale fee cuts that Valve gets. For instance, there are 4.8 million fracture cases unboxed in May, and on average there are around 140,000 fracture cases being sold on the market daily. If we multiply this by 30 days, we get about 4.2 million cases, which is almost the number of cases that were opened in May. Let's assume that the average case price is 72 cents, then there is a fee of 9 cents with each case being sold. That's an additional $378,000 for Valve, and this is coming just from a fracture case, which is still the second cheapest on the market. Now, how things would change if cases were changed to Anubis Collection-like packages? The trading volume on the market would be way lower and there would be no reason to buy these packages from the market when you can buy them in-game directly for a fixed price. Moreover, skins would have capped value as returns would never be able to exceed the fixed case opening price. Just to put it into perspective, now skins can increase in price because some cases have a limited supply. So in theory, if the outcomes get more expensive, you can buy more cases and try to get these profitable outcomes manually. This increased demand process makes the container price go up, which in turn provides sustainability to the whole CSGO ecosystem. Don't forget another detail that is not too obvious. The Anubis package does not have gloves or knives. These items in particular are the ones people mainly open cases for. In fact, the most expensive covert in the Anubis package is more than 8 times harder to acquire than any knife from a case unboxing, as the Eye of Horus is the 6th rarity category in the package with a 0.032% probability. For instance, a pair of gloves in a Revolution case is in the 5th rarity category with a 0.26% probability. This change is definitely a deliberate one by Valve, as they perfectly understand how the economy works, and having these small odds for a knife unboxing would ruin everything for them. Now, don't forget the fact that every skin apart from the Eye of Horus in the Anubis Collection package can go into a trade-up contract. That, in theory, allows people to acquire the rarest possible item in the collection by simply doing trade-ups, which was never the case with knives, as they are the rare special item for a reason. Of course, at the end of this video, we'll also need to address the dwindling case supply numbers. If you look at this purely from a case investor perspective, it's a highly positive sign, as this pretty much means that every case will go up in price over a coming year or two. However, I believe that there are some more exciting things happening in the shadows. Now, we can't know the actual number of cases being dropped every month, but we can make a very rough assumption by comparing it to the past. In May this year, there was an average of 1,117,000 players playing CSGO at the same time. Of course, this number is heavily affected by the CS2 release numbers, but we can at least assume that most of these players play for a decent amount of time to receive a case drop, especially now with the quote-unquote new case drop thing. I'm not sure how these average player numbers are being calculated, but I doubt it includes all the farm accounts that used to work with their profiles hidden. If they were not included in the past, the actual case drop rates were definitely higher than the unbox rates. So what I want to do is compare case opening numbers in May 2021 and the average player count with the same numbers this year. In May 2021, there were 25.9 million cases opened, and the average number of players was around 659,000. In May this year, there were 37.7 million cases opened, and there were 1.17 million players on average. Keep in mind that I deliberately excluded the Anubis package numbers, as you can't get them as drops. The ratio of May 2021 and May 2023 is relatively similar. 2 years ago, there were 39.3 cases opened per average player, while this year it's 32.2 cases opened per average player. So the only logical conclusion here is that cases are not going extinct. In fact, with the previously mentioned numbers, it seems that this quote-unquote assumed dwindling case supply problem should have been way more apparent 2 years ago, but it wasn't. If anything, I believe that if there is a supply bottleneck somewhere, then it's definitely related to people buying them and hoarding them as investments. The only way to find out the absolute truth is to wait, but if someone would stop me in the street and ask me whether Valve would change their case opening model, I would say no with a high confidence. If you like this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and leave your comments in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and I hope I see you in the next video.